I want you guys to answer this question. What are your current fears for your business? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What can you work on? Brian Tracy had just finished his book. He said two things that I took away from that book, main things that I took away from that book are in knowing your fears, the fear of failure and the fear of rejection are the two biggest fears when it comes to salespeople. And so you got some more, there you go. And moving forward in the sales process, getting to that final step, which is that close. He says the fear of failure is the biggest single reason for failure in adult life. He said it is not failure itself, but the fear of failure, the prospect of failure, and the anticipation of failure that causes you to freeze up and perform at a lower level. So that's number one. That's fear number one, the fear of failure. Fear number two is the fear of rejection. How many of you guys have that fear deep-seated somewhere? The fear of rejection. Fear of being told no. Deep-seated, okay. Thank you for being honest. He says the fear of rejection is the fear of a potential buyer will say no. Now you guys are salespeople. I know a few of you guys are salespeople in here. You guys have heard no before, right? So, what we're going to talk about a little later, and what I'm going to give you guys is some tips to overcoming the objections. So giving you guys some objection tips that you can use. He says it is triggered by the possibility of rudeness, disapproval, or criticism towards the salesperson by the prospect. So fear of failure, fear of rejection. That is my number one tip, is know yourself. Know what those are and start working out ways to overcome them. Okay? My tip number two is know your thinking patterns. Now, who knows what the DISC personality assessment test is? DISC personality, Judy, you know, I'm sure. Jamie, you know. My president, the first thing he did before he hired on the sales staff is he made everyone take a DISC personality assessment test. As you guys can imagine, because I am shy and timid, yes, I'm a DI. So, and what I found out a little later after the hiring is he hired nothing but DIs on our sales staff. I'm a driver, and I'm influencing, it gets into the engaging, and so know yourself. So a DISC personality assessment test is the great way to figure out, again, your strengths, your weaknesses. Because if you guys are going to make a sale, if you guys are going to convince me that your product, I need your product, then you're going to need to know what's the best way to do that. That DISC personality assessment test not only tells you a little bit about your strengths, but also tells you how to sell to a person opposite you, right? Jamie's shaking her head like I know a little bit about that. So know your thinking patterns. And also, I pulled this from Zig Ziglar. Successful people control their inner dialogue. So I want everybody to write down, what is the story you are telling yourself? What is playing on repeat? What are you guys telling yourself when you get up in the morning? Bowtie, what are you telling yourself when you get up in the morning? It's the first thing you start to say.
I can help you.
You look in the mirror and you say, I can help you.
Yeah.
I like that. To your positivity, if you speak it over your life, if you speak it over your companies, your businesses, how that can be so helpful to just taking you to the next level. So, tip number one, know self. Tip number two, know your thinking patterns. What is the story you're telling yourself? What is the story playing on repeat? Tip number three is know your prospects. Again, another Brian Tracy quote. Judy kind of touched on this a little bit. So the best way to build trust is to ask questions and listen to the answers carefully. So, Bowtie, I ask you a question. What do I need to be doing next? Remember this, Bowtie?
Try to get the audience. Oh, what's the question?
So I asked you a question. You listening. So I come to you. We're having a business meeting. We're both mutual beneficial relationship. I ask you a question. What do I need to be doing next?
Are you having any problems right now?
I ask you a question. I need to be listening, right? Isn't that what I need to be doing next? I ask you a question. I need to be listening for the answer, listening for cues, right? Very nice. Thank you both. 2 ears and 1 mouth. Judy Hoberman. That is correct. So, the best way to build trust, again, is to ask questions and listen carefully. My question number 3 for you guys that I would love for you to answer is, what questions are you asking your prospects as it relates to them, their business goals, and personal ambitions? Another thing that I've taken away from working in my current position as a Senior Director of Business Development for the Texas Legends, I've sat through many of recruitment, many of intern application, people looking for a place to work, people looking for a job. And what I found is when you can find people who are motivated by their ambitions, by their passion, those are the people you find that hang around long term, right? Those are the people you find that stick in those positions because they have a passion for what they're doing, right? So, know your prospect. It works the same way in business. I need to know what both ties' passions are. I need to know what his ambitions are. That way I not only hopefully get him as a customer, but I keep him as a customer, right? So I'm fully engaged. So tip number 3 is know your prospect. Tip number 4, write down a few, know your product and how to overcome objections. This is kind of my favorite because this is where I get very interactive with you all. Most of you guys are salespeople. Who's selling something in here? Who works in a sales? Judy's telling me everyone. All of you guys are selling something, right? Jamie, maybe I can start with you. How do you overcome an objection in your business?
You just kind of look at what's going on with them and see if it's something you can resolve for them.
Look at what's
In business coaching,
business coaching. Look what's going on with them and see if there's something you offer, something that can help them resolve that. Am I correct, Jamie? What about you? You want her to go, okay? How do you overcome an objection?
I try to do what Judy gave, that example of painting a picture of what their life would be like with my services.
Painting a picture of what their life would be like with your services. Are you a good picture painter? Who's got a pretty good imagination in here? Who knows that you need that in business to paint that picture for, a prospect? I'm gonna tell you guys, I was with this team. I was with the Texas Legends way before we even had a team name. We were selling air when I first started. We were selling air. We had to go into business meetings and tell people, hey, you want to join us with this, whether it was a partnership, a big partnership, a $20,000 partnership, we were expected them to write a check based on a team that had not even played their first game yet. So we were all great picture painters of what our future was going to look like with the team. And we've done some amazing things since. So painting a picture, I like that a lot. How do you overcome objections? Don't shy away from it. You want to go? Step on up. I don't think the mic will reach this far out.
Well, so I do consulting, right? So it's a lot about understanding what their goal is, and then pointing them back to their goal. I mean, if you can identify what's the obstacle that's keeping them from their goal, then they're more likely to buy your service.
I like that. So you say identify the goal?
Well, right. So that's a listening part. You got to know that first.
Okay.
But then you got to provide how did they overcome that goal? Whether it's, I don't have enough money to advertise, or I don't have the right people behind, you got to give them the answers when they're hired.
That is true. You got to give them the answers. I need one more person to step up for me in overcoming objections.
So when I've sat down and talked with people and they have an objection, it's usually a comfort level. So I'll just keep the rapport going, kind of make them feel comfortable, sometimes even get off the topic a little bit. I had this guy recently who was not ready to write a check, and he tried to put me off again another week, so I just thought, I got off the topic, and out of nowhere he goes, just give me the pen. It just brought down his walls. He was totally comfortable then. It's just a comfort level, so.
Building that rapport, that's a very good one. Judy talked about that in her presentation, building that relationship, building that rapport. So that's an ongoing message. So know how to overcome objections. I have listed a few of our best practices that we use for our team, and you guys are more than welcome to take some of these, take them for your business. Someone says, I'm not ready. Our question is, how do you mean? Let them go and start explaining, go into detail about what they're not ready for. Another objection is to overcome. Is I had a similar situation with XYZ, and here's what they did. You know, people always want to know what worked best for the next business, right? So if they're making the right decision, they get more people in the boat, they're making the right decision, right? I brought a few more because some of these are pretty interesting. Okay. Of course you have how do you mean? Again, it sends people in to go into more explanation. How do you mean? Right? Are you trying to sell me something? Who knows what a good objection, overcoming that objection is? Are you trying to sell me something?
No, I'm trying to help you.
No, I'm trying to help you. Go ahead. No, I'm trying to address your needs. Tell me what you guys think about think about this one. Only if you're buying. Right? Are you trying to sell me something? Only if you're buying. Only if that makes sense to you. Right? Okay. If you had a good reason to buy, then yes, I can set you up. That's a good one, right? Another one, your seats for, working in sports and selling season tickets. Your seats are too expensive. What do you guys think a good objection to overcoming that? A good way to overcome that objection? Your seats are too expensive. Too expensive as compared to what? What are we comparing it to? Okay. It's only expensive if you don't consider it to be an investment, right? So if I can turn this purchase into an investment for you, the way that you can make money, make business, connect with people, then does that make sense for you? Right? Okay. My last tip, guys, is for heaven's sake, ask for the sale. For heaven's sake, ask for the sale. I always tell, new recruits, new people coming in to sell, there is no substitution for this step in the process. If you're a salesperson, you sell, right? You're a salesperson, you sell. So there's no substitution for that. Write down a few of your closing questions. Who has some good closing questions they want to share with the group? I can count on you, Bowtie.
Suppose I provide you with a payment plan. You don't have to pay it all today.
Suppose I provide you with a payment plan. You don't have to pay it all today. That's a good one. Anyone else? One more. Eli. How can I help you? That's always a good one. Hopefully they don't give you a 20-page list, right? How can I help you?